Guys, welcome back after that short advert break. Let us now look at exchange rate. Right, so the first question here I said, in 2022, Mrs. Twala visited Taronga Zoo in Sydney, Australia. She paid 40.75 Australian dollars, that is inclusive of Australian VAT of 10%, for a ticket to the zoo. Use the exchange rate alongside, right, there's our exchange rate, to calculate how much the ticket costs in South African rand. So here, first of all, it's the Australian dollar to the United States dollar. Then that's the United States dollar to the South African rand. So my mind is telling me I will go from Australian dollar to US dollar, and then from US dollar to South African rand, because we must calculate the ticket cost in South African rand. Are we clear? So therefore, I'll start by the Australian dollar. So that will be 40.75 Australian dollars multiplied by, now I look at the exchange rate between the two countries here. Okay, so I see I'll multiply that by 0.77 in order for me to see what the ticket will cost in US dollars. Okay, so it's 40.75 multiplied by 0.77. So that will give me, then remember this is now in US dollars, right? That will be 31.3775 US dollars. But our aim is to establish the cost of the ticket in South African rand. So therefore I look now and I see 1 US dollar equals 13.378 South African rand. So therefore my next step will be to take my US dollars, right, the 31.3775, and I multiply by the exchange rate of 13.78, right? So 31.3775 multiplied by 13.78. So that will give us an amount, and remember now it's in South African rand, an amount of 432 rand and 38 cents, rounded off to 2 decimal places. So 432 rand and 38 cents. Guys, I hope that's clear to all of you. Let us now look at a next question. At question number 2, I've indicated here that Tando and his 2 friends, right, recently visited Zambia and Botswana. They stayed at a hotel in Zambia. They charged them 1,090 ZMK per person, right, per day, breakfast and dinner included. They paid a deposit of 3,270 ZMK to secure their accommodation, right? They paid 98.10 ZMK per person for lunch at the hotel. The 3 of them had lunch 5 times at the restaurant at the hotel. Okay, so now I'm indicated here that the table below shows the exchange rate between the currencies, right, and the South African rand, the ZAR. So 1 rand equals 109 Zambian kwacha, as indicated here. Then also 1 rand equals to 0.72 Botswana pula, the BWP, as indicated here. All right, now let's look at our first question, which will be question 2.1. In question 2.1, I've indicated that Tando bought a souvenir worth 1,150 rand in Botswana. How much is this amount in Botswana pula? Right, so I'll be looking at this, right? The Botswana pula against the South African rand. Okay, so in this case, if we look at this, we can see the South African rand is slightly stronger. We agree. Okay, so therefore I'll then say 1,150 multiply by 0.72. Okay, so 1,150 multiply by 0.72. That will give me then, right, equals to 828 Botswana pula, BWP. Guys, are we fine with that? That's our first question. We converted basically from South African rand into Botswana pula. Question 2.2. Right, here we are saying, calculate the total amount they paid in South African rand for the 7-night stay at the hotel in Zambia. So now we'll be looking at this part here, right? What else is important? Let's quickly run through that again. Per day, they've been charged 1,000 Zambian kwacha per person, that's per day. They pay the deposit up front, right, to secure the accommodation of 3,270 Zambian kwacha. Then the lunch per person is 98 Rand or 98,10 ZMK. And then important also to note, the three of them, they had lunch 5 times at the hotel. All right, we want to know what is this in South African Rand. Okay, now let's start with this one. I'll start off with the accommodation, right? So, okay, so the accommodation, I'll abbreviate it like that. We know then it's 1,090 ZMKs, multiply by the three of them, multiply by 7 nights. That's what they've been paying for. And now remember, our unit now will be ZMK, Zambian kwacha. Okay, so first of all, it's 1,090, multiply by 3, multiply by 7. So that will give us for the accommodation 22,890 ZMKs. Are we still fine? Right. Next up, we have the lunch. Right, so let's look at the lunch. It was 5 times at the hotel. What is the cost for lunch? It's 98.10. So I'll say then 98.10 multiply by the three of them, multiply by the 5 times that they've been eating at the restaurant at the hotel. So it's 98.10 multiply by 3, multiply by the 5 times. So that will give us 1,471.5 ZMKs. Guys, what is important here? Remember, these guys, they paid. Okay, they've paid a deposit up front already. Now let me just quickly go and double check that amount. Right, so we'll see that in the context just now. Yeah, it's 3,270 ZMKs, right? So remember, if they already paid that, it must be then subtracted. We agree. Okay, so we are back. So therefore, I'll then, first of all, add the two amounts. So in total, it's 22,890 ZMKs plus the 1,471, okay, 5 ZMKs. And then, please note, we must still subtract the deposit, basically, if I can put it that way. Here it's indicated, right, of 3,270 ZMKs. Okay, so let's do this calculation. 22,890 plus 1,471.5. That alone will give me 24,361.5 ZMKs, right? I'll write it out for you. So it's 24,361.5. Now I'm going to subtract my deposit of 3,270. So minus 3,270. So that will give us 21,091.5 ZMKs, Zambian kwacha. Right, but remember, we need to now convert this amount to South African Rand using this exchange rate. Okay, so therefore, to see what it will be in South African Rand, I will take my 21,091.5 and I'll divide that by my 1,09. So take out 21,091.5 and I divide that by the exchange rate of 1.09. So when I do that, I will get an amount payable by the three guys here of 19,350 Rand. 19,350 Rand. That is the amount due by the three guys. Guys, let us quickly take a short break. After the advert break, we'll wrap up today's lesson. See you now.